Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look again at Greninja in the Ultra League this time around. We are now actually going to have the Hydro Cannon as well, as we already showcased the Water Shuriken variant for the Great League earlier, but without the Hydro Cannon because it wasn't available for me yet. Now we can take a look at the Hydro Cannon variant for this Pokemon. And honestly, this Pokemon was so much fun to play. While we're gonna get not really the best matchup here right now in the beginning, it still had like so much potential. You're going to see so many games where this Pokemon carried so much, and honestly, I just love it. It's my favorite Pokemon if you didn't know that yet, and I just love playing with this Pokemon. It is just so much fun to do. But yeah, today we're going to have a team here with Toxicroak in the lead, which is going to be able to do some fairly decent damage against also like something like Fairy-type Pokemon, which you don't want to face. But also it's going to be able to counter the most common Fighting-type Pokemon of this meta right now, which is going to be very good for it. Here we're going to get completely hard-walled in the first game, so I'm going to decide to forfeit. For example, also the Poliwrath we're going to be able to hardwall, which would be a hard answer for the Community Day Pokemon there via Greninja. But as you're going to see right now, Sludge Bomb going to do a ton of damage. I'm still going to shield up a potential Scald from the opponent, but we can now farm them down afterwards, which is really amazing for us. As we're now going to get out of this matchup with some energy, we're going to see the Charizard coming in here right now, and we're going to have a horrible Saisorb. But Greninja, there's literally no horrible Saisorb. We're going to get here already this shield and can still go for one Hydro Cannon, and look at this damage. This Pokemon is doing so much damage here right now, forcing the opponent still to throw. And like this, they have no chance of getting to anything like a Focus Blast here right now. So Guzzlord is a safe swap into this one here, as they can take the Thunder Punches without a doubt. You can also use something like a Hydreigon even in the back there if you don't have a Guzzlord, fairly similar. But Guzzlord, of course, is the better Pokemon to use right now. We're going to run Crunch as well as the Dragon Claw. I have to say, I wouldn't recommend you to run Crunch on this Pokemon. I would rather recommend you to go for Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing is the better move to go for. Crunch is still okay, totally fine. But Brutal Swing is just a little bit faster, which I just like a little bit more. But here, the Charizard gonna go down. And we can now move on into the next game. Tentacruel lead, fairly okay for us, but I kind of want to swap out eventually. We will be able to go for one Mud Bomb here with our Toxicroak. And let's see if they're going to shield this move up. They do not, and we can now swap on into our Greninja. What is my opponent going to do here? They're gonna swap also into their Greninja. The amount of Greninja that I actually faced against me as well was kind of ridiculous. Like, a lot of people like to play this Pokemon as well. Now, I faced, I think, like 3 different Greninjas or something today, which was really, really cool. But, yeah. Here we're going to be able to go for the Hydro Cannon. You can still get to your Night Slash here right now and force the opponent to use a shield, which is going to be amazing for us, as I can now go ahead and use my own shield. I should be able to win most CMP ties here, and as if you see already on the screen right now, our Greninja is a little bit bigger than the opponent's Greninja. I actually got an XXL Shiny Greninja with very good stats for the Ultra League, which is ridiculous to get because, like, honestly, like, the likelihood of getting an XXL Shiny and an XXL Shiny with good IVs is just so slim. So I'm so happy about this one here right now, that we were able to realign, as well as we're gonna get some damage onto the opponent's Tentacruel. I'm going to let the move go through, and they're going to hit me with a Blizzard. Great play by them, but we are still going to be able to farm them down. Drapion comes in right now, and our Toxicroak here going to be a hard wall to the Drapion. The best move they can have is Awkward Tail, which is not a great move in general. They're running Sludge Bomb and also the Crunch. There's nothing they can do about it. Like, there's literally nothing they can do here anymore. You're just going to do enough damage with the counter, and they're going to decide to forfeit this game. I can highly recommend you this team, by the way. If you want to try out Greninja, this is definitely a very solid team to go for. This might be actually one of my favorite matches. Like, let's take a look at this one here right now. You see another Greninja swapping in against us right now, but we have the energy lead, and we had already the damage from one Hydro Cannon on them. I think the best play against other Greninjas is to go for one Hydro Cannon and 2 Night Slashes, because I feel like another Hydro Cannon wouldn't be doing enough damage, and I think 2 Night Slashes does barely enough damage to knock out the opponent here. Let's see. They're going to actually still survive it, but I can still farm them down. So we're going to be able to realign right now, and that's not all. We can also still get to another short move against the opponent's Charizard, and we can say goodbye to the Charizard, because they expected me to go only for a Night Slash. And just like this, we're going to be able now to have our Guzzlord aligned against the opponent's Cresselia. We're still going to be able to go for Crunch or Dragon Claw, both of them is fine, and there's going to be such a great match. And even with the small amount of HP that Greninja has left, because he can charge up so fast, we're still most likely going to be able to reach another Night Slash in time. And this is going to be amazing for us, as you see, as well as you're going to still get to a Crunch here right now. I tried to swap out, but it does not work out, but Honestly, a Moonblast is still not even enough to knock us out here, so one more crunch is coming through towards them, and I can now just swap out maybe even into the Greninja, and I will do exactly that and get to the Night Slash to knock them out. And Greninja gets a triple kill here against the opponent, knocking out the Greninja, knocking out Charizard, knocking out the Cresselia from the opponent, and we can move on into the next game. Horrible lead actually, because our backlines are weak to it, and also our lead does not really enjoy too much to face off against a Charmer. It's actually so hilarious how the camera angle is so broken with Guzzlord because it's so huge. But here we're going to predict that the opponent gonna go for a Feather Dance first because a Brave Bird doesn't knock us out, and we can go for a Crunch, getting the debuff, but also the shield advantage right now. And I'm going to take this right now. I'm going to just go ahead and no shield again, which is going to be another Feather Dance, allowing me to go for a Crunch. And if I wanted to, I should be able to realign now as well, because they're going to let this move go through. And they're fairly likely have to go for a Brave Bird right now here. But let's take a look at this. We can go ahead and go into our Greninja, trying to get some extra energy, and we can punish the opponent's Ninetales here with another charge move. This is going to two-shot the opponent, but I'm going to swap out into my Toxicroak right now, and we're going to get out the Swampert. We're kind of getting hard-rolled here right now. But it is still not over. We have a lot of energy advantage here against the opponent's Swampert with our Toxicroak, and we're going to take full advantage of this, because in the two-shield scenario, or like with me having two shields, actually counter puts them into range for 2 Mud Bombs, and as long as you're going to outspeed them to the moves here, we're going to be fine. And I'm fairly certain that we might be even able to win CMP against the Swampert here, and we do. This is going to knock them out, but even if it doesn't knock them out, we still had our Greninja in the back, which would have outsped the opponent's Ninetales and still would have been able to clean up this game. But like this, our Toxicroak is just going to town right now, knocking out the opponent and winning us this game. Let's take a look at the next opponent. We're going to have here right now Toxicroak against Clefable. Horrible lead. This is exactly what I don't want to face with this team, where maybe something like a Nidoqueen might be even a little bit better. But yeah, we're going to be able to go for another charge move here with the Toxicroak. Gonna get the shield from the opponent. I'm going to let this move go through right now. I have to hope that they're going to stay in against my Greninja. I'm going to just swap into my Greninja and hope that they're going to stay. I can use a shield here right now, and they can overfarm by a lot of energy, and we're going to encounter what else than another Greninja from the opponent. It is everywhere right now. I'm fairly certain that the usage set of this Pokemon gonna go down fairly soon as well. I don't think a lot of people are going to still continue playing this. It's usually like the community they hype, and after a while people go back to their lame stuff like Giratina, registeel, whatever. But actually my opponent going to be able to win CMP here, which I didn't expect because I have a 2 attack variant, but the opponent seemingly have a higher attack variant than me. So I'm forced to basically farm down with that, but like now I don't really have a great matchup anymore, and I most likely should have tried to shield up against the opponent's Greninja, try to do something there, because like this, there's a lot that I can do here right now, and I'm going to use the top left button here and going to forfeit this one. Let's take a look at the next game. We're going to have Toxicroak against Pidgeot. This is going to be okay for us, but not really. We're going to swap out here into Greninja, and what we can do here is right now is we can go ahead and go for the Hydro Cannon. Now we're going to have to predict, does the opponent go for a Feather Dance, or do they gonna go ahead and go for a Brave Bird? I say they go for a Brave Bird, so I'm going to use my shield, and I was right here, as they're gonna swap out into a Cobalion. I'm gonna go for the CMP tie, as they always need 3 fast moves to get to that charge move here right now, and so we're going to at least basically raise the energy from the opponent, and I can go ahead, swap out into my Toxicroak, and I will be able to farm them all the way down. But yeah, like, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like on the video as well right now. I would really appreciate it. Helps out a ton, as you're going to see the Pidgeot coming in here again. I will be able to go for a Sludge Bomb, get the shield, can swap out, and we see that the opponent swaps out as well. The registeel is coming in here, and especially if we're going to get a debuff here right now, we're going to be in a great spot. But no, they are not going to get debuffed, and now it's going to be a little bit tough. But one Focus Blast from a registeel is not enough to knock out our Guzzlord here, as we can go for another Crunch. This is going to do some decent damage against the opponent, and we see the defense drop here. This is going to be fairly okay for us, as now the opponent gonna go ahead and has to take another Dragon Claw. Do they shield? They do not shield, and I can try to swap out, and they can farm him down in time. They didn't expect this one. Then comes the Pidgeot. I can try to bait the shield with a Mud Bomb here right now, which works out super well. I'm going to have to shield up the incoming Feather Dance, but I should still be able to even reach another charge move in time, and this is going to be amazing for me, as now the Sludge Bomb is going to do definitely more than 1 HP, which the opponent has left here, and we will be able to win this game. Let's move on into the next game right now. This is going to be also an interesting one here right now, as you're going to see that the opponent going to have a Giratina in the lead. Very bad for me, of course. Like, one of the worst possible leads that I could face, but I still have my Greninja. Greninja can go for a Night Slash. Greninja gonna get out the Cresselia from the opponent. We still haven't really seen a boosted Greninja so far. So let's see what we can do here today. We're going to have another non-boost, but we can still try to go ahead and let the Grass Knot go through, which does not knock us out. We are bulky enough to survive it. We have 2 Night Slashes stored. We can go for 1 here right now, and this one is going to get the shield, and this does still not boost me, but I can still go for another one here, and this is going to do enough damage to get the boost as well. And this is not all. They can still not farm us down. We can still go ahead and go for another Night Slash here and force 2 shields from the opponent, which is wild. As we can now go ahead, go into our Gastrodon. I'm going to let this move go through because a Moonblast does way more damage than Dragon Claw will do, and I can still go for my own Dragon Claw to knock out the opponent. Now we are 2 shields up, the Cresselia has a ton of energy, and they're going to have a Swampert in the back. Something I should be able to beat, and I'm fairly certain that the opponent going to go ahead and go for the bait here first, because we still have 2 shields left, and they most likely think that I want to keep my Gastrodon alive, so I'm going to let this move go through. It's going to be the Hydro Cannon, we can still survive that, and they're going to have to go for another one here right now, which we can also let go through, even though both Pokemon are fairly decent against Toxicroak. We're actually gonna go ahead and call the bait here, which is wild, which I shouldn't have done, and I actually didn't want to do. I actually thought I clicked on the shield, looked away, and then realized I didn't click on the shield, so I'm actually honest, I did not expect that. Like, I actually wanted to shield that. It was like very certain I go for like something like Moonblast, so this was super lucky. But we can still move on into the next game right now. Toxicroak against Sandslash. Amazing lead for us. In comes now the Jellicent, which is also fairly decent for both of our Pokemon. Usually Jellicent runs the Shadow Ball as well as Surf. Not this Pokemon though. I should have went into my Greninja. And honestly, I should just go straight into my Greninja anyway, because it's way more fun to boost with Night Slash. But like this, we're going to be forced to use a shield against the opponent, because Ice Beam is going to knock us out here. And I don't really want to have this, so I'm going to now farm them all the way down with the Dragon Tail, get a ton of energy. And even the opponent's Sandslash will not appreciate the crunch damage here. So no, it's actually going to be the Tapu Fini. This is going to be a tough one now. Crunch coming through, not gonna get the debuff, but we have our Greninja. And Greninja is going to have a great time here, going to be able to go for a Hydro Cannon. Yes, I'm going to lose my switch advantage here right now by swapping out into my Greninja, but still, I can resist the fast move of the opponent here. And you see already, I put them into Night Slash range with my fast move. And we can get to another Night Slash, and we can go for another Night Slash here right now. We're just going to try to get the boost here, slowly but surely boosting, and we can get the boost here right now as well. And I go for I do a mistake here. I should have went for the Night Slash again. It's an obvious shield if we're double boosted. So I'm going to swap out into my Gastrodon here right now and go for the Dragon Claw. It does not make too much sense. Don't mind me. I just want to get some damage onto the opponent and force them to throw. This still should not knock me out. And they're kinda going to be forced eventually to throw a shield up. But even if they don't throw a shield up, we're going to be able to get them so low already that counter damage is all it takes to knock out the opponent's Tapu Fini. We're even going to be able to survive a Moonblast from this range. They just went for a Surf. I'm going to call the Moonblast and I'm going to use a shield here. And this is all it takes to win this game, as the opponent going to forfeit right now. And we can move on into the final game of today's video. Again, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe to the channel as well. Would really appreciate it. We're getting closer and closer to the 60k, which is really crazy. Like, honestly, I sometimes forget how many people 60,000 are. This is so wild. Like, honestly, I just started YouTube back in the day to have some fun, and like, because people asked me to upload some battles, and now we're at nearly 60k people following this channel. It is wild. I appreciate everybody of you. Thanks so much. As Greninja is also going to appreciate you hanging in with 1 HP and knocking out the opponent's Obstagoon. Shield advantage, switch advantage, Greninja takes it all. We're going to be able to go ahead and even go for the Gastrodon here to try to knock out the opponent's Charizard with some Dragon Claws. And as you're going to see right now, they go for another one. I can let this move go through this time around, but it's going to be a little bit tricky because they're going to have that Tapu Fini in the back. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to use this. This is a Surf. I shouldn't shield this move up. I do shield this move up though. This was an obvious Surf, sadly, but I can still go for the Mud Bomb bait. There's no way that they're not going to shield this, right? Nope, and they're actually going to not shield this move up there. They were actually smart enough to call the bait, and we will see right now that they are going to even call the next bait as well and going to let this move go through. But like this, we're going to be able to farm them down, and this is going to be amazing. They can knock us out with the Charizard, but Gastrodon is a bulky boy. Gastrodon can still survive a Dragon Claw, and Gastrodon is charging up very fast. And also, Gastrodon is going to win us this game. So, this is going to be it for today's video. Ultra League variant is a very, very cool, definitely definitely get one for Greninja. Definitely play the community day today. I hope you have a great community day. Also, check out the 2 videos that you see on the screen right now. Greninja and the Great League with Water Shuriken, as well as the finals of the World Championship. So check them out. See you then. Bye bye.